retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I could feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Just like a weed. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to a very special edition Tuesday stream. It's TGI Tuesday here in the first full week of September, and you're damn right, that is a thing. Thank you all for tuning in once again to one of the greatest streams that you will ever tune into throughout the course of your time here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? That right there is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Two-man kind. And this is the official rewind for WWE Payback 2023, which of course streamed live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania last Saturday on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock, last Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Almost a week. Almost a full week I didn't stream. Why? Because I was down in North Kakalaka for the last couple of days. I got back very late on Sunday night. I think I got back around 9:30 p.m. on Sunday night. We drove, me and my family. My dad did most of the driving. We stopped twice on the ride there and on the ride home. I actually got Cracker Barrel on the way home. First time I've ever been to a Cracker Barrel. And my God, they got some excellent fucking fried chicken. Great fried chicken, steak fries, and dumplings. Their cornbread's a little dry. Their cornbread is a little dry, but their fried chicken, fucking great. I was down in North Carolina over the course of the last weekend for my cousin's wedding. Andrew, if you're watching, once again, congratulations to you and your now wife, Jess. I wish you both the best and I wish you both the utmost happiness throughout the course of the rest of your lives together. You guys are awesome. Wedding was fantastic. Food was great. North Carolina weather, very, very nice. Met a lot of great people. And if you're watching, you guys know who you are. There was no LFU. There was no rewind. But now I'm back, and badder than ever. And I see that James Punasecta's here. We got Hoolagrim. Yeehaw, Hoolagrim. Yeehaw. And we also got Sarah Habka here joining me for the rewind for WWE Payback. And last weekend, very, very good weekend for professional wrestling overall across both major companies, even though we did get the shocking news that CM Punk has officially been fired by AEW. I am actually going to hold off on that. I'm not even going to talk about that on the rundown because I am going to be introducing a new show. I'm going to be introducing a new show with my main man, Jay Leto. We are looking to debut this show ASAP, hopefully within the next week. And it is going to be a monthly show. It's going to take place once a month, hopefully the second Thursday of every single month. And we are going to discuss the hottest topics in the world of pro wrestling that took place over the course of the last month. It's going to be a nice change of pace. So Thursdays are going to become my unofficial second day. I guess this show could very well become the SmackDown of the DJ Storms brand. Of course, it will be partnered with PWP Nation. Me and Jay Leto, we have very good discussions. We bounce off of each other very well. We have good debates. So I figured it would be a nice expansion of the brand and a nice piece of content that you guys will enjoy. So hopefully we'll be able to get it going by next week. And we will be talking about the firing of CM Punk, and hopefully we'll be able to offer multiple different perspectives from multiple different angles. Should be fun, but we're not talking about AEW right now. We'll talk about AEW All Out on Thursday. Right now we're talking about WWE Payback, and I was kind of surprised, but I wasn't. But this show ended up turning out to be a very good premium live event in the end. And that's usually what happens with WWE. Usually the build sucks all the way going into this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view looked like a house show on paper. There was absolutely zero heat going into any of these matches, minus The Miz and LA Knight, which I said was the best built match going into the show. And it was. It was. But once again, a terrible build resulted in a very good pay-per-view in the end. I'm even going to go out on a limb and say that outside of the Royal Rumble and SummerSlam wasn't necessarily a terrible show, but it was on the lackluster side. But outside of SummerSlam and the Rumble, 2023, even though the year's not over yet, we still have Fastlane, Crown Jewel, and Survivor Series. But even though the year is not over yet, 2023 could very well go down as the best overall year in terms of premium live events / pay-per-views for WWE, probably in the last 20 years. I don't think I've seen a year where WWE has gotten almost every single one of their premium live events right, and we have gotten a solid show every single time. Elimination Chamber, great show. WrestleMania, great show. Backlash, great show. Money in the Bank was good. Payback was very good. We've had a lot of really good premium live events for WWE this year, and I'm glad that Triple H is able to take over the premium live event scale. And I'm glad that Triple H he's pretty much been given the ball when it comes to these premium live events. We all know that Triple H barely has any power. This Endeavor deal is going to be closed any day now. We've been hearing the rumblings of it. We've been keeping track of it. All of these news sources and dirt sheets are reporting on it. We know, trust me, we know that Endeavor is going to take over WWE and it's going to be theirs. Budget cuts are coming too. But Triple H seems to be in full control of the premium live events, at least for the most part. And in the end, WWE is going to go right back to doing the same thing that they've always done. I mean, look at what happened on Monday Night Raw last night. The show, pretty much outside of Gunther and Chad Gable, was boring. Monday Night Raw was boring outside of Gunther and Chad Gable, which should have been on Payback. Should have been on Payback, but it wasn't. But in the end, Payback overall was a pretty damn good show. Nothing really over the top, nothing really match of the year worthy, but Payback, not bad whatsoever. And I'm glad that I was able to get back to my hotel room after the wedding reception. A lot of dancing, a lot of good food, wedding cake and steak and cheesy potatoes and Caesar salad, a lot of Sprite. A lot of Sprite because I'm straight edge. I do not drink. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff to say the least. Thank you very much to John Blaine, who is watching on Facebook right now. Thank you very much. But Payback, pretty good show. Pretty good show for the most part. There were a couple of things that kind of brought the show down. The match placement for the most part was correct. All matches were given ample amount of time, and all the outcomes were correct too. So in the end, not really all that bad of a show. I'll be doing some complaining like usual, but it was a good show. And for one Saturday, we could relax and enjoy ourselves some decent pro wrestling on WWE's side of the spectrum. Before we get into the actual specifics of the show, please make sure that you guys are following me on social media, specifically on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can add me on Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, we are live on the Posse group and the official DJ Storms business page. A big announcement. If you guys missed it today, I announced on my Facebook, my Instagram, and my X account that I will be getting another shipment of DJ Storms t-shirts. By the end of the week, I will be placing the order. I should have it in time for 90s WrestleCon. So if you are attending 90s WrestleCon in the Rockaway Mall at the end of the month, September 30th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., please DM me, message me your shirt size. So that way, if I see you there, I'll be able to give you your shirt and you can pay me with cash when we get there. If you do not want to pay me with cash, or if you live too far away and you are not traveling to 90s WrestleCon here in New Jersey, you can always send me money on Venmo. I will give you my Venmo information when you give me your address and your shirt size. T-shirts are $25. $25. I'm also selling wristbands. Wristbands are $2. And if you want a package deal, you can get a t-shirt, one t-shirt, and 4 wristbands for a total of $30. Message me, serious inquiries only, please. Serious inquiries only. Please go and check out all the extra information on my social medias. I know, Hula Grim, you got to create a Venmo. I don't do Cash App. You got to create a Venmo. I'm sorry. It's not how it works. I'm sorry. Shout out to my girl, Brittany K. Brittany K is a big supporter of the channel, a wonderful person, and a very good friend of mine. She is a multi-talented individual. She does beautifully crafted designs on her iPad from scratch. She is amazing. She does designs of pro wrestlers and drawings for Twitter to use as avies and or banners. Please go and show her some love. Her X account is Brittany K5150, while her Instagram is Brittany K Designs. She is a wonderful human being, and you will not regret buying some art from her. And last but not least, shout out to Jay Leto, the creator of PWP Nation, and of course PWP Nation themselves, because PWP Nation is in an official partnership with your boy, DJ Shizzle Dizzle. You can go check out the PWP Nation website and the PWP Nation Facebook page, in which I do at least once a day posts, and I get the expertise analysis from the greatest mind in the professional wrestling community today. You know it, I know it. Nobody measures up to DJ Storms. There's DJ Storms, and then there's everybody else. All of those links are in the description. Also, no matter where you're watching the stream from, whether it be Facebook, Twitch, Instagram. Actually, we're not live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube and X. Go and like the stream no matter what platform you're watching it on out of those four. Share the stream out on all platforms of social media, including X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you are using. Yo, James, put a second. Do you want a t-shirt? You want a t-shirt? You just got to create a Venmo. You got to send me your address. You got to Venmo me 25, and I will get you this t-shirt. You do not want to be without a t-shirt. And I can send you a wristband too if you want a package deal as well. You want to hand out some wristbands to your family and friends? You can get the package deal as well. Create a Venmo. You got to get on this. Shout out to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, who is also watching the stream right now. But obviously, share the stream out on all platforms, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. And I just hit my microphone over here. Share the stream out, and we can get as many people in here as possible, because everyone needs some DJ Storms in their life, because it is a known fact that I just make people's lives better. Everyone's life is better with DJ Storms. It is just a proven fact. If you are not on board, it's time for you to get on board. Come on. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, subscribe. We are on the road to 2,200 subscribers on my channel and 800 subscribers on the Hardcore Sports channel. It is big. You want to get it. You want to get it because it helps me out. It helps Hardcore Sports out. And we're looking to be the #1 brand in all sports analytics. So if you want to help us grow at a rapid pace, get on that right now. It is very vital that you do so. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it's the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Hang on, give me 1 second right here. I gotta break it out right here. Take a look at this right here. I got this beautifully crafted magical Ace Black comb, and we're gonna let it up right here on the stream, on the rewind, with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like that succulent fried chicken that I had over at Cracker Barrel on Sunday, I am just so good. And Earl, you got here just in time. You got here just in time for the comb. Hula Grim, just sit back and enjoy the show, okay? I broke this fucking comb out, and I hit the okay? I hit this shit because I'm as succulent as Cracker Barrel fried chicken, and you're talking about how I fear Cash App. Come on. Unfucking believable. Do you want a comb? I'll get you a comb too. I will get you a comb too, James Punisecta. You just got to Venmo me. That's all you got to do. Create the Venmo. Anyway. Enough of the chit-chat, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Let's get straight into the festivities here. WWE Payback WWE Payback started off with Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus in a steel cage match. And I'm going to be honest, I went into this thinking that this was going to be a complete disaster. I thought that this was going to be an absolute disaster. They were putting this on first, so that way they can get it out of the way because they knew it was going to be bad. But in the end, this match surprised the ever-living shit out of me. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, they showed up to work, and they gave us a great steel cage match. Now, was it match of the year worthy like Michael Cole was saying? No. If you want a main event steel cage match, go watch what Jack Perry and Luchasaurus did last year at Full Gear to kick off that show. That was a match of the year worthy contender. That was a great steel cage match. Probably the best steel cage match that AEW's ever done. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus last year at Full Gear. Excellent match. But this was still a great steel cage match considering what we've been given. It took us over 3 months to get another decent match out of these two, but finally we get something of substance, and finally we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief. This match was the end of this atrocious feud with Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. This is easily have been the worst match of 2023, or at least the worst feud of 2023. Excuse me. I don't know why I said worst match. The worst match of 2023 is Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam in that horrific MMA rules match. But Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus overall was the worst feud of 2023. Absolute worst feud of 2023. Seeing Trish go out there every week and struggle to cut a promo, it legitimately made me recoil in my seat. It was absolute cringe. But the steel cage match, great. A great steel cage match between these two. Both of these two went all in, no pun intended. They showed up to work, and they gave us something of substance. At least for one night, a women's match was not an embarrassment on WWE's programming. And everything about this match, it flowed perfectly. It had the right outcome. And Zoe Stark is with Trish Stratus no more. So Becky Lynch was in control early on. We had a series of Beck-sploder suplexes. Trish took over and raked Becky's head against the cage. Becky then bashed Trish's head against the cage, hit a flying forearm for a 2. Both women traded strikes. Becky then bashed Trish's head off the cage again, and vice versa. Over and over and over again, they were bashing each other's heads against the steel cage. So Trish Stratus was then draped over the top rope. Becky Lynch with a guillotine leg drop for a 2. Trish and Becky were up top, and Trish tried to escape. Becky caught her in a powerbomb for a 2. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Trish then with a widow's peak. That got a 2. Becky Lynch pulled out a twist of fate. That got a 2. Nice near fall. Becky then went up, but she hurt her knee. Stratus with the Stratusfaction, but Becky kicked out. Both women were now up on the top. Trish with an avalanche Stratusfaction, which looked great. Becky kicked out again. Becky and Trish climbed back up to the top of the cage. They were trading blows back and forth on top of the cage. Trish Stratus was then hanging upside down outside of the cage by her foot, which looked brutal. I was actually fearful that she was going to fall. So Becky pulled her back in and delivered a superplex off of the top of the cage to Trish. Both women were down. Lynch covered. Trish kicked out. Becky stepped on Trish, or stopped Trish, excuse me. She stepped over Trish and stopped her from escaping. Zoe Stark then came out of nowhere, and it was a tug of war with Trish Stratus. Stark then entered the cage. She caught a manhandle slam did Trish, but Zoe broke it up. Becky and Zoe went at it for a minute. Becky then stopped Trish from escaping, and Becky delivered a manhandle slam from the top of the cage, and Becky Lynch pins Trish Stratus 1, 2, 3, and ends this god-awful feud, as I am praying to God in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, amen, that this feud has finally come to an end. And I will give Trish Stratus credit. This was probably one of Trish Stratus's best matches in her entire career ever. And that's saying something, to say the least. Becky Lynch wins, as she should. Afterwards, Zoe Stark tried to help up Trish Stratus. Trish then slapped Zoe in the face. Zoe then closed the cage and delivered the Z360 to Trish Stratus, took off the thank you Trish shirt, threw it down, and left under her own power. And that was pretty much that. So Zoe Stark is now on her own. She was actually in a match against Shayna Baszler last night, which was not bad whatsoever, and she actually gained the respect of Shayna Baszler. I'd like to hope that WWE will continue to book Zoe Stark somewhat decently, because she is a great wrestler, but I do not have high hopes for her whatsoever, because at the end of the day, this is WWE we're talking about, and WWE, at the end of the day, does not know how to build up new stars. But for one night against Trish, she gave her the Z360, she stood tall, and one night against Shayna Baszler, she looked decent. We will see what happens going forward. What happens with Becky, we will get into that in a minute, because she actually had a segment a little bit later on in the show. But this was a great steel cage match to kick off the show, and I don't have any complaints about the match in general. It does not excuse the horrific feud, the atrocious fucking feud that we got for 5 straight months, but for one night, Becky and Trish delivered. We had John Cena. John Cena coming out. He was the host of WWE Payback. He came out to the typical theme song with the trumpets. And the crowd was happy to see him. So he said that he wanted to be the special guest referee for the next match, which was The Miz versus L.A. Knight. So The Miz came out, and Miz said, as a host, you suck. Miz said, you don't put yourself as the special guest referee in my match. When they call you to do a merman role in the Barbie movie, you also say no. So Miz continued to rag on Cena. He goes, you're 50 years old and you still dress like a Teletubby. Cena said that in the end, he is going to be the special guest referee for Miz's match against LA Knight. The Miz said no, and Cena, in the LA Knight voice, he goes, yeah. And that was LA Knight's cue. LA Knight came out, huge ovation in Pittsburgh. And we got LA Knight versus The Miz with John Cena as the special guest referee. I did not mind John Cena as the special guest referee. He didn't really do anything. He didn't do anything. He was just there. He was the referee. He didn't put his hands on anyone. And he just let these two go out there and wrestle. And that was pretty much that. So Miz tried to walk away from LA Knight. LA Knight went after The Miz, and LA Knight was caught with a double axe handle by The Miz. Knight came back with a nice power slam, and then Knight bounced The Miz's head off of the announce table. Knight then sent The Miz into the timekeeper's area. He then launched himself over the barricade with a flying clothesline on The Miz, which looked very nice. LA Knight then got in Cena's face, but he did not touch Cena. So Miz took advantage. Miz went for a code breaker out of the corner, and he got it. That got a 2. Miz then remained in control. Knight then with a back suplex side slam. He mounted a comeback with a neck breaker and a big kick for a 2. Knight then with the yeah kicks, similar to how Stone Cold Steve Austin stomped a mud hole in someone back in the day. Miz then with a DDT. He rolled through into another snap DDT. That got a 2 count. Miz was caught with a spinning DDT, almost like a Velveteen Dream-esque DDT off the ropes. Miz then grabbed the ropes on a pin. Cena saw it, stopped him. Miz nearly sent LA Knight into Cena. LA Knight stopped himself. Miz delivered the skull-crushing finale, and that got a very close 2 count on LA Knight. Miz then went for a 5-knuckle shuffle, trying to mock John Cena. LA Knight with a spinning power slam. He delivered the LA Knight elbow drop, and then the blunt force trauma, the BFT, and Knight wins 1, 2, 3. LA Knight wins clean in what was a solid match, and in a sense, I'm a little shocked that they actually had LA Knight come out of this match as the clean victor. Cena did not get involved, and I'm happy that he didn't get involved. Cena then stood face-to-face with LA Knight on the stage, and he shook LA Knight's hand and raised his arm in victory. Now, Miz actually had a Miz TV segment where he was playing a joke where he was pretty much talking to thin air, because the joke is, yeah, nobody can see John Cena, so Miz is going to talk to the air. Miz is going to talk to the air because you can't see John Cena. It was a fucking embarrassment of a Miz TV segment, and it really brought the Miz down several pegs, because the Miz, coming out of WrestleMania was an embarrassing show for The Miz. An absolute embarrassment of a 2-night event for him. Coming out of WrestleMania, The Miz has actually been pretty fucking decent on WWE TV. He's been putting on some solid matches with Rollins, some solid matches with Ricochet, with Nakamura, Tommaso Ciampa, and these promos with LA Knight have been great. He had the best built match going into Payback. And then we get what we got last night on Monday Night Raw, and it's like The Miz is back to being a fucking joke. They made him look like a retard. They made him look like a complete fucking retard. And on top of that, why is this LA Knight Miz feud continuing? Miz doesn't have a leg to stand on. Cena didn't conspire against anyone. Cena did not lay a finger on The Miz. Cena did not lay a finger on The Miz. Cena didn't lay a finger on LA Knight. He let them wrestle. Miz lost clean. Why is this feud continuing? And at the end of the day, this feud continuing, to me, just tells me and the rest of the fans might not be as smart as me. Hell, they're not as smart as me, so they're not thinking the way I'm thinking. This just tells me that WWE does not know what to do with LA Knight, and they're trying to stall his momentum. Because realistically, the next spot for LA Knight is the United States Championship. But they're not going to do that, are they? See, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that because we got Santos Escobar potentially turning heel on Rey Mysterio, even though Santos Escobar and the LWO, they've barely been together 5 months, and you're already talking about breaking them up. On top of that, Santos has been getting solid babyface reactions throughout the entirety of the summer. I don't know why you're contemplating turning him heel. If anything, you just should have given Santos Escobar the United States Championship. Or if anything, you should have had LA Knight win the United States Championship, and LA Knight should have beaten Austin Theory at SummerSlam, not Rey Mysterio squashing Austin Theory on a random episode of SmackDown. It just tells me that they're just trying to stall LA Knight's momentum. Where does LA Knight go after this feud with The Miz? Seems like WWE is just continuing this feud because they are completely void of creative ideas. They're continuing this feud because they cannot be bothered to write something different for LA Knight. This should have been a 1-month feud, one and done, and LA Knight should have moved on to bigger and better things. The Miz, right now, after what he did last night, was brought down several pegs, LA Knight should be nowhere near The Miz. Why do we need a second match? LA Knight got what he wanted. He beat The Miz. He proved The Miz wrong. Fucking stupid. But the match itself at Payback was a solid match. And I'm glad that Cena did not get involved. And Cena remained impartial. And he counted the pin, 1, 2, 3. And LA Knight wins clean. I'm glad that they did that. We'll see what happens. But this feud between LA Knight and The Miz, no bueno. It should not be continuing. I don't know why it's continuing. Actually, I do know why it's continuing. It's because WWE cannot be bothered to write anything new. Should not be continuing. From there, we actually go, coincidentally, into the United States Championship match between Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio. NFL Reality Check. Thank you very much for stopping by the stream. I hope you are having a very good Tuesday. So, we get this United States Championship match. This was not bad. This was not a bad match. Austin Theory is never a bad professional wrestler. Rey Mysterio still operates very good for his age. They did exactly what they needed to do. Rey Mysterio got the victory. But it felt like a SmackDown match. It really did feel like a SmackDown match. Now, was it better than what we got on SmackDown several weeks ago? Yes. Yes, it was. But this ended up being the shortest match on the show, and it didn't really break out. It didn't really break out. It feels as though they could have gone another 5-6 more minutes, and it really would have been something more of substance. See, this is why I don't understand why we got a Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller effect segment on the show. That was completely unnecessary, regardless of what the announcement was. That was completely unnecessary. You should have given at least 5 or 6 more minutes to Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio. Not a bad match. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was a terrible match, but at the end of the day, it felt like a SmackDown match because Austin Theory has been ruined by WWE Creative. And Rey Mysterio right now, no matter how much people respect and care about Rey Mysterio should not be winning championships in 2023. He's a Hall of Famer. Why does he need to win championships? So Theory and Rey started out fast. Theory then with a Fisherman Buster for a 2 and a second one. Theory then tried to slow the pace down. Rey Mysterio then came in with a moonsault off the top for a 2. We had a Hurricane Rana by Rey, a baseball slide underneath the bottom rope to the floor into a tornado DDT, which looked very nice. Rey Mysterio with a seated senton, springboard head scissor takedown, 619 missed. Theory then caught Rey Mysterio in a spin-out torture rack powerbomb for a 2. That's probably one of my favorite moves by Austin Theory, is the torture rack bomb. Theory then with a roll-through dropkick, and both men were down. Rey Mysterio got the 619 on the money. He went for the splash, but Theory had it scouted this time. He got his knees up. Theory went for the A-Town down, but Rey Mysterio got him in a roll-up, and Rey Mysterio pins Austin Theory 1, 2, 3 clean and retains the United States Championship, as he should, because Rey Mysterio is keeping that title warm, apparently, for Mr. Santos Escobar. Not terrible, but nothing I'm going to go back and rewatch. It felt like a SmackDown match, and if anything, it was probably the second worst match on this show. And it wasn't even a terrible match. It just was not anything special. It just wasn't must-see. Where do we go with Austin Theory now? I don't know. Truth be told, I actually hope that they pair him with Grayson Waller. They were in a tag team on SmackDown the night before Payback, and they actually gelled very well together. They came off like a legit tag team. Grayson Waller has not been treated very well either. Grayson Waller has been a loser ever since he came up to the main roster. That tag team victory was legit his first victory ever. Maybe this is what they need. Maybe they could very well be in a position where they could win the tag team titles at a later point in time. It just felt like they were almost meant to be together. They're two very similar characters, two very similar makeups. It feels like they can bounce off of each other and feed off of each other very well. And the crowd, if they are given the proper time to develop, and these two are put in feuds with some top-tier baby faces, the crowd is really going to boo the shit out of them. And that's going to be great for them. It's going to be a healthy, symbiotic relationship that could very well take them to the next level. So I would not mind whatsoever if we get a tag team between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller down the line. I think that would probably be the best route for both men. Becky Lynch. She was being interviewed backstage. She was interrupted by the NXT Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton obviously acting like her flamboyant, cocky self. Becky said, "I might see you soon." And Tiffany Stratton is actually defending the NXT Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, that is, tonight on NXT against Kiana James, which I do believe she will retain. I would not be surprised if we get a report after the stream is over that Becky Lynch has made an appearance on NXT, because there were reports going around that WWE wants to send Becky Lynch down to NXT. Now, if you ask me, that right there is pathetic. It's the same reason why they're sending the Judgment Day down to NXT, is because WWE realizes that nobody gives a fuck about NXT, and they realize that they need to put these main roster superstars on Tuesday nights because they need to generate some buzz, they need to generate some interest, and they want to generate intrigue so that way the USA Network will sign NXT to another 3 to 5 year contract so that way they can broadcast live on the USA Network between 8 and 10 p.m. every single Tuesday. That is the only reason why you have Becky and why you have the Judgment Day and why you have all these other main roster stars appearing on NXT. It is absolutely fucking pathetic. It's downright laughable, if I'm going to be quite honest right here. It really is. NXT is supposed to be your developmental territory. It's supposed to be your breeding ground for new talent. It is supposed to be the place where talent are there to develop and mature and get themselves over, get themselves ready for the main roster. Becky Lynch should not be on NXT. If anything, Becky Lynch should be in an undercard program with Shayna Baszler, and she should put over Shayna Baszler en route to Shayna Baszler going up against Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Championship once Rhea is done with Raquel. That's what she should be doing. The fact that Becky Lynch is on NXT, or she's rumored to be on NXT, just continues to reek of desperation on WWE's side of things. Because they know that nobody gives a fuck about NXT. So then now they need to take the Judgment Day, whom they've already had on NXT numerous times. Now they're taking Becky Lynch, they're putting her on NXT, and they're putting her up against Tiffany Stratton because Tiffany Stratton legit has no competition. After she beats Kiana James and after she beats Roxanne Perez, there's no one left for her. There's absolutely nobody left for her. She's beaten everyone. So they're bringing Becky Lynch down there to get Tiffany Stratton more over because they cannot develop anyone else down there to help get their main star in the women's division over. It's desperate, it's pathetic, and it really goes against everything that NXT should really stand for. It's lame. But this is WWE for you. This is WWE for you. Desperate for ratings, when in reality, once the Judgment Day are done, once Dirty Dom loses the NXT North American Championship, which I hope to God is soon, and once Rhea Ripley's done there, and once Becky Lynch has had her run, it's going to be goodbye, and the main roster stars will cease to exist on NXT after NXT signs a new deal where they will broadcast on the USA Network for another 3 to 5 years. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Judgment Day. This is Damian Priest and Finn Balor. This is a Steel City street fight for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. If there was one match that I would highly encourage everyone to go out of their way to watch, it would be this match. And James Punaseka, I know you're watching. I know you're not too big on tag team wrestling. I know. I really do. But this match, I am telling you, is worth your time. This match is worth your time. This was easily the best match of the night and easily one of the best matches all summer for WWE's end. Was it match of the year worthy? No, it was not match of the year worthy. But out of the summer, this was probably the best tag team match that we've seen all summer. And I'm even putting this match over the Bloodline Civil War tag team match that we saw at Money in the Bank. This was excellent. Now, the outcome, I was kind of surprised, but yet I wasn't kind of surprised. And in the end, I left North Carolina after watching Payback. And I said to myself, this was the right move. So the fight started right out of the gate. Finn used the kendo stick on Sami Zayn. Finn stomped out on a Pittsburgh Steelers towel. That is a sacred towel, by the way. So surprised Finn Balor made it out of Pittsburgh alive. Sami Zayn then with a tope con hero over the top rope onto Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens then blasted Finn Balor and Damian Priest with trash cans. KO actually had a Terry Funk shirt on. So he was paying tribute to the late, great Terry Funk. That was very, very nice by Kevin Owens right there. Finn Balor had a trash can on his head, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens bashed him with kendo sticks. Finn Balor could not see the kendo stick shots coming. Sami and Owens then got a table. Priest then bashed a trash can over Kevin Owens' head. We had a bed of steel chairs being made into the ring. The fights then spilled out into the crowd, and Dominic Mysterio came out to help the Judgment Day. Owens was then bleeding. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens then were wearing Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys, and they started beating the Judgment Day up with hockey sticks, which I thought was great. Back in the ring, we get a Blue Thunder bomb on the chairs in the ring for a 2. We had steel chairs set up as if they were playing musical chairs, and Damian Priest delivered a broken arrow to Sami Zayn on the steel chairs. It was about 6 steel chairs that Sami Zayn landed on. Zayn was saved by Owens. Owens, Priest, and Balor then brawled into the crowd once again. It was all-out bedlam. Sami Zayn joined the fray, and he dove off of the pre-show panel in the crowd onto the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio then came out again. Owens then set Dominic up on a table, and Owens, like the absolute sociopath that he is, Owens climbed up into the stands on top of a mezzanine, and Owens did a swanton bomb, a picture-perfect swanton bomb off of the mezzanine through Dominic Mysterio through a table. I actually thought he was going to miss it. He nearly overshot it. It was very, 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 very close, but Kevin Owens ended up making the jump, and he landed it perfectly. So Dominic was taken out for the time being. Back in the ring, Sami Zayn was caught with a trash can by Damian Priest. Balor then covered. That got a 2. Priest was then caught with an exploder suplex into a corner. Balor was sent off of the apron through the table. Sami and Owens were in the ring. Owens hit a stunner. Sami Zayn delivered a haluva kick, and he went for the cover, but J.D. McDonough saved the match. Finn Balor's protege, Finn Balor's friend of 20 years, J.D. McDonough, saved the match, and he took out Zayn. Owens said, all right, you know what? You want to get involved? Fuck this. Owens clotheslined the shit out of J.D. McDonough and delivered a pop-up powerbomb onto the announce table, and it did not break. It did not break. Rhea Ripley then came out of nowhere, and she decided to channel her inner Goldberg. Rhea Ripley just came out of fucking nowhere, and she spears Kevin Owens through the table. Not a table, excuse me. Spears Kevin Owens through the barricade. She spears Kevin Owens through the barricade perfectly, and that got a huge pop. Balor then took advantage, and he went for the coup de grace. He missed it. Sami Zayn with another exploder suplex into the corner. He went for the haluva kick, and he connects with the haluva kick. He went for the cover. Dominic Mysterio all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, and Dominic Mysterio takes the Money in the Bank briefcase and bashes it over Sami Zayn's head. Sami Zayn was knocked out. Finn Balor covered 1, 2, 3, and the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, Judgment Day are the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Excellent match. Excellent match, and in the end, this was the right outcome. Because Judgment Day, they are stronger together than they are separate. They've been playing up with this storyline that they're going to kick Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day. It's going to kick Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day. Damian Priest is going to be on his own. At the end of the day, the Judgment Day is much better as a unit than they are separately. Damian Priest right now is much better with the Judgment Day than he is on his own. Judgment Day should not be on their own at least until the summer of next year. We should not be talking about breaking Judgment Day up until after WrestleMania next year. They are way too good as a unit to be broken up. Now, one thing I will say is this. It is becoming very, very difficult to be invested in Judgment Day matches because it's the same exact match every single time. Judgment Day has a match, whether it's Finn or whether it's Damian Priest, whether it's Rhea, whether it's Dom. Rhea Ripley's in a match, and Dominic Mysterio interferes. Dominic Mysterio's in a match, and Rhea Ripley interferes. Finn Balor's in a match, Damian Priest interferes. Damian Priest is in a match, Rhea Ripley interferes. Now they're inserting J.D. McDonough into the fray, and now J.D. McDonough is interfering with matches. You know what it's reminding me of? It's reminding me of Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers. If you guys remember, back in the middle of 2017, when Jinder Mahal was traded over to SmackDown, and Jinder Mahal won the WWE Championship. He beat Randy Orton at Backlash, and he had one of the worst WWE Championship reigns, maybe the worst WWE Championship reign of all time. And he was with the Singh brothers. It was the same exact match every single time. Jinder Mahal would get beaten down. The Singh brothers would come on in and cause a distraction to whomever his opponent is. And Jinder Mahal would come back, hit a rising knee, hit the Koloss, and that was it. And the opponents would look like shit, and Jinder Mahal would look like a jobber champion who could not get the job done on his own. That's exactly the same exact vibe that I'm getting from the Judgment Day. The only individual that actually gets shit done on their own is Rhea Ripley. She beat Natalya on her own. She beat Zelina Vega on her own. She beat Indy Hartwell on her own. She beat Candice LeRae on her own. And next week, she's going to have to beat Raquel on her own because Dom is banned from ringside. So there's no way that Dom is going to get involved. He can't. He can't get involved. And if he does, it would be fucking stupid. She's going to have to beat Raquel. She is going to beat Raquel. There's no way that Raquel is beating Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is holding that championship 200, 250 days minimum. Nobody should be beating Rhea Ripley right now. But in the end, 90% of Judgment Day's matches, it's the same shit every single time. Interference after interference after interference after interference. Does that really make them look like a better group? No, it doesn't. It makes them look weak. Why can't Judgment Day win matches on their own? Why can't we have someone go out there from the Judgment Day? It doesn't always have to be Rhea Ripley. I'm not saying that Dominic Mysterio needs to go out there and beat Roman Reigns on his own, but you can have a Dominic Mysterio or a Finn Balor or a Damian Priest. You can have these guys go out there and win matches on their own. Damian Priest has won a couple of matches on his own. Why is it that in every single big match, we get the same exact outcome every time? Damian Priest became Mr. Money in the Bank on his own. The Judgment Day didn't interfere once in that match. Why can't we get an outcome like that? Because that makes the Judgment Day look better. That makes Judgment Day look stronger. Having a constant flow of interferences with every big match that you have, it makes you look weak. It's the same shit that WWE did with Kevin Owens back in 2016 when he was the Universal Champion and Chris Jericho was interfering in every single one of his matches, helping him retain the championship. It's lame. It's overplayed. It's just not a good look. Why do we need constant interferences? That needs to change. That needs to change. Judgment Day is a great faction. Judgment Day has a great makeup, and it looks like they're going to add JD McDonough to their rankings too. But why in every single major match do we have to have the same exact flow of interferences? Finn Balor and Damian Priest are fighting for the tag team titles. Rhea Ripley gets involved. Dominic Mysterio gets involved. Dominic is defending the NXT North American Championship, and Rhea gets involved. It does not make them look good. It makes them look weak. Priest won Money in the Bank on his own. Rhea Ripley won the Women's Championship on her own. Why can't Finn Balor and Damian Priest win the tag team titles on their own? It's the same shit that they did with Kevin Owens back in 2016 when he was Universal Champion. Enough with the interferences. Judgment Day needs to start winning big matches clean. However, regardless of that, this was still an excellent match. This was still the best match of the night. Yes, it's the same match that we've seen every single week on Raw for the last, how many weeks? 9 weeks? 10 weeks? It's the same match. I get it. But it was still a must-watch match. It was great. I mean, with the talent in this match, with those 4 guys in that match, and the fact that it was a no DQ Steel City street fight, it had no room to suck. There was no way it was going to be a bad match. But we got new tag team champions, and in the end, that was the right outcome because the Judgment Day, they are stronger together than they are separately, and I really, really, really do hope that they're going to add JD McDonough into the group and things are going to work out pretty decently. Grayson Waller effect. The Grayson Waller effect with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. A little bit of adrenaline in my soul. Every thought out of control. Say it with me now. Oh! The directionless Cody Rhodes. Directionless! I got no direction after SummerSlam and Lesnar, but I'm gonna finish the story soon. Oh! Finish the story. How about I invite your mother over and we can finish our story? So he goes, so, Pittsburgh? And Grayson Waller stopped him, and he said, nobody cares what Pittsburgh wants to talk about. So Grayson wanted to hear about Cody's big announcement. Cody goes, what are you going to do? Are you going to say some mean stuff and we brawl and I hit you with a crossroads? Waller said that he's not going to do that, and he's a professional. Cody said that he's got a big scoop. Cody said SmackDown is intriguing, and he felt like he needed to right a wrong that took place on SmackDown a few weeks ago. So he said that he pulled some strings, and he said for everyone to get up on their feet and welcome the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster, main event Jey Uso. So Jey Uso came out looking all hyped. Waller then was ragging on Jey Uso, and Jey Uso super kicked Grayson Waller and left. Now, I had this all wrong. I actually had this all wrong. I thought we were going to get the brawl between Cody and Grayson Waller, and Randy Orton was going to make a surprise return. Randy Orton was going to come back and attack Cody, and Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton was going to be the major feud for Cody on Monday Night Raw, going into Fastlane and Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. We didn't get that. We didn't get that. Instead, we got Cody Rhodes pulling some strings, saying that SmackDown is intriguing, and he pulled Jey Uso back into WWE, and now Jey Uso is on Monday Night Raw, and Adam Pearce said that there will be a trade to SmackDown. Someone from Monday Night Raw will be moving over to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, the only thing that I can really think of here as to what's going to happen, and if this doesn't happen, I'd be shocked, is Cody Rhodes pulled the strings and he's going to get himself traded over to SmackDown so he can finish the story at WrestleMania next year with Roman Reigns. And hopefully he will go through the Elimination Chamber. Cody wins the Chamber, and then Cody Rhodes beats Roman at WrestleMania 40. Although, in the end, it really doesn't matter because Roman's already been pinned. Jey Uso was the one that pinned him back in July, number one. Number two, Cody already lost, and his momentum has severely suffered. Cody Rhodes still is directionless. That feud with Lesnar was fucking awful outside of the matchup at SummerSlam. And then on top of that, they have done absolutely nothing with Cody following the feud with Lesnar. He's done nothing. He's competed in a couple of nothing matches against the Judgment Day, and he is now on a Grayson Waller effect on the Payback show. And all he did was bring Jey Uso back to WWE, and now he's moving over to SmackDown. What's he going to do over on SmackDown? You're going to feed him Karrion Kross? You're going to give Kross another major loss? You're really going to give Karrion Kross another major loss after how many goddamn losses that this man has taken? This man has been back in WWE over a year, and this man has lost 80% of his matches since coming back to WWE. How fucking pathetic is that? Absolutely disgusting. A feud with AJ Styles, that could be intriguing. That could be intriguing. Feud with Austin Theory. Austin Theory's dead. What are you going to do with Cody over on SmackDown? How are you going to bide your time until you get to the Elimination Chamber where Cody can win it and go and fight Roman? I don't know. And with Jey Uso coming back, if you're asking me, similar to Becky Lynch appearing on NXT to go up against Tiffany Stratton, this is just another act of desperation. WWE, they just cannot be bothered, so they got to bring Jey Uso back to TV, when in reality, Jey Uso, if you ask me, he should have stayed off TV until the Royal Rumble. If you wanted to build Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso at WrestleMania 40, then Jey Uso should have stayed off of television for the next 5 months. We should have not heard a peep out of Jey Uso until we got to WrestleMania season. We should have not heard a single word, a single lick, a single ounce. Nothing. We should have heard nothing. No effort, no energy. We should have heard nothing. Dead silence. Dead silence on the part of Jey Uso until we got to the Royal Rumble. Because then, if Jimmy's in the Rumble, Jey could have returned, and Jey Uso could have eliminated Jimmy, and you could have started the build towards Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania 40. But no, you got to bring him on Monday Night Raw, and now you're trading Jey Uso for Cody Rhodes. Yes, it plays into Cody and Roman, even though that's not going to feel as special as it would have been if Cody had won this year. Jey Uso, what's Jey Uso going to do on Monday Night Raw? Jey Uso shouldn't be sniffing singles gold. I wouldn't mind him competing for singles gold. I wouldn't mind him competing for an intercontinental title. I wouldn't mind competing him for a world title here or there. But in no way, shape, or form should Cody Rhodes be anywhere near winning a singles championship. Jey Uso is not a singles wrestler. Jey Uso is a tag team wrestler. Jey Uso is and always will be a tag team wrestler. What do you think is going to happen after Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania? They're going to get back together. It was stupid to even break them up to fucking begin with. The turn made absolutely no sense. And now they're playing up the Bloodline storyline on SmackDown, and Jimmy Uso apparently wants back in the Bloodline. What the fuck is going on? And you got Jey Uso now on Monday Night Raw, reuniting with Sammy. Heartfelt moment. But at the end of the day, now you're bringing the Bloodline storyline. You're bringing a former member of the Bloodline to Monday Night Raw. And if you don't think that Jey Uso is going to play a factor into what happens next year, you know that they're building towards Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania 40. You know it's going to happen. You know it's happening. WWE, they could not wait, huh? Man, that hiatus for Jey Uso lasted all but 3 weeks. Real fun, huh? Real fun. Didn't even give it a chance to breathe. All but 3 weeks. Jey Uso's now back on television because WWE cannot be fucking bothered to put effort into anyone else except for the same fucking people that they've been putting effort into for God knows how many fucking months. Jey Uso, Jimmy, Roman, Rollins, Charlotte, that's it. Everyone else, Gunther, everyone else, fuck them. But we did get somewhat of a surprise, and it looks like Cody Rhodes is going to be traded to SmackDown sooner rather than later. Raquel Rodriguez, she took on mommy herself, Rhea Ripley. This was for the Women's World Championship. I don't want to say that this was the worst match of the year, but this match clearly did not have much heat going into it. This match clearly did not have much of a story. And in the end, these two did not really have all that exciting of a match. It was way too slow. It was way too methodical. Not enough high spots. And in the end, I'm not even going to blame Rhea Ripley, and I'm not even going to blame Raquel. This match easily was the worst match of the show and probably the worst match of the weekend, and that's not their fault. The reason being is because, number one, after you had that excellent Steel City street fight for the Undisputed Tag Team titles, after you had Sami and Kevin versus the Judgment Day, there is no way that anyone was going to follow that. The crowd was even somewhat silent for Rollins and Nakamura until they picked up the pace a little bit. But no one was going to follow that Steel City street fight. That was the match of the show. Easily match of the night. No one, and I mean nobody, was going to follow that match. Nobody. That's number one. Number two, I've been saying it for a while now. At the end of the day, no matter how good the talent is in the women's divisions, not just in WWE, but in AEW too, women's wrestling is just dead. Women's wrestling is just dead. Nobody cares. Ever since Ronda Rousey left the first time around in 2019, WWE just pissed all over the women's division. They put Lacey Evans in a feud with Becky Lynch, and now Lacey Evans is gone, and she's making more money than ever on OnlyFans. WWE just proves time and time again that they just do not care about women's wrestling. And that's the second reason. And the third reason is no one actually believed that Raquel was going to beat Rhea Ripley. And this is the problem. You have a monster in Rhea Ripley, and no one genuinely believes that anyone is going to be taking down Rhea Ripley. The only legitimate, credible individual that has any sort of a chance of standing toe-to-toe with Rhea Ripley and feeling like she could actually beat her is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is the only one on that show that legitimately feels credible standing next to Rhea Ripley. And shocker, it is Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is already a made woman. Becky Lynch is one of the people that they constantly put all their effort into while they neglect everyone else. No one genuinely believed that Raquel was going to beat Rhea. So you combine that with the fact that women's wrestling is at the lowest point that it's ever been since they got rid of the word diva and that Steel City street fight. There's no way that Rhea and Raquel were even going to come close to having a memorable match. Was it the worst match I've ever seen? No. But it was way too methodical. It was way too slow. And in the end, these two women, they've had better matches. If anything, you should have made this match a last woman standing match. If you did make this match a last woman standing match, it would have turned out a lot better. Matter of fact, if you wanted them to, you could have had them rival what they did at NXT New Year's Evil back in January of 2021. But no, of course not. So Raquel with a nice shoulder tackle. Rhea Ripley took over, and she was working a very methodical pace. Raquel tried to mount the comeback with a rebound lariat and a nice fallaway slam. Splash in the corner. Rhea came back with some stiff kicks. Both women were on the top, and Raquel with a vertical suplex. We had a corkscrew Vader bomb. That got a 2 count. Rhea Ripley then with a running knee for 2. We had a big lariat by Raquel. Rhea Ripley then targeted the bad knee. Ripley with the prism lock, but Raquel got out of it. Raquel then with a power slam, and then Rhea Ripley tied up Raquel in the apron and power bombed Rhea Ripley, did Raquel, into the post. So after Raquel recovered, powerbomb into the post, and then she slung Rhea Ripley from a powerbomb position into the barricade. She then delivered snake eyes into the post before Dominic Mysterio, this is what I was saying before, Dominic Mysterio comes out, causes a distraction as he was pulled into the ring, trying to pull Rhea Ripley out of the ring. Raquel then body slammed Dominic. Rhea Ripley took advantage and delivered the Riptide to retain the championship. 1, 2, 3. Not a horrible match, just very bad placement. Easily the weakest match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. And I am still scratching my head as to why Dominic got involved. I don't think Dominic has gotten involved in any of Rhea Ripley's matches up until now. He didn't get involved in her match against Candice. He didn't get involved in her match against Zelina Vega. He didn't get involved in her match on Raw against Natalya. Why exactly did he get involved here? What was the reason behind it? Do we really need Dominic Mysterio coming out and causing a distraction for Rhea Ripley? Rhea Ripley is legitimately the most dominant female in WWE right now. She is easily the most dominant female in the industry, minus Athena. Because Athena on Ring of Honor, Athena's doing God's work right now. Athena is doing God's work as we speak. But Rhea Ripley's the most dominant female in WWE today. Why is Rhea Ripley going out there, and why is Rhea Ripley attacking Raquel Rodriguez with the help of Dominic Mysterio? Why does she need Dominic? We should have Rhea Ripley. If there's one member of the Judgment Day that does not need any interference and should be winning matches on their own, it is Rhea Ripley. If anything, Dominic interfering in Rhea's matches brings Rhea down a few pegs. We should have absolutely zero interferences in Rhea Ripley's matches. Rhea Ripley should go into these matches dominant, and she should come out of these matches looking like a dominant champion. Very, very, very bad call to have Dominic interfere there. Rather boring match. Not necessarily horrible, but very bad placement. And no one believed Raquel was going to win. Women's wrestling is just dead in WWE. And at the end of the day, the match was just way too methodical for the people's liking. And that was pretty much that. Right outcome. I'd like to hope that they'll do better next Monday on Raw. And I think that they will. I think that we're going to get a better match next Monday on Raw with Rhea and Raquel. Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the build towards this match was, I don't want to say it was a dog shit build. The video packages that we got for Nakamura were very well produced, very laid out. He looked like a killer. He sounded menacing. And we all know how good Nakamura is. We all know how good Seth Rollins is. Nakamura actually had a very nice pre-match video package where they were telling like a comic book-like story with comic book pictures on the Titantron of Nakamura saying he's going to break Seth Rollins' back and he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I appreciate that they gave us a story with Seth Rollins back, but it just wasn't enough. It just was not enough. Similar to Raquel and Rhea Ripley, no one believed that Shinsuke Nakamura was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura screamed interim opponent. Shinsuke Nakamura was the plain sight, obvious, no doubt about it, interim opponent for Seth Rollins going into the fall. Because after he gets past Nakamura, with Zayn and Owens losing the tag team titles, Zayn and Owens are going to be there. Drew McIntyre is legitimately on the verge of turning heel. A heel Drew McIntyre, he's going to be right there for Seth Rollins. Nakamura is just an interim match. He's just an interim feud. But in the end, the feud just had no heat. The entirety of this feud, I'm glad that it was given a layer of stories. I'm glad that they gave the match some story with Seth Rollins back and the fact that Nakamura was looking to target the two fractured places in Seth Rollins' lumbar spine. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. Now, what they should have done is they should have added another layer on top of this story with saying Seth Rollins is the one man that Nakamura has yet to beat in the WWE. He should have mentioned that Shinsuke Nakamura has come on into WWE and he has beaten everyone. Sami Zayn, John Cena, Randy Orton, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, but he's never beaten Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is 3-0 against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, after this show, he's 4-0. Rollins should have been building the program around the fact that Shinsuke Nakamura has a personal vendetta against him, and Seth Rollins is the albatross that Shinsuke Nakamura cannot seem to get off of his back. And that's why Shinsuke Nakamura is playing mind games with Seth Rollins, because that is the only way that Nakamura knows that he can beat Seth Rollins. Shinsuke wants the world title, but he realizes he needs to go through the man that he's never beaten in order to do so. That is what they should have done. They shouldn't have just built this match around the back. They should have added that as an extra layer onto the story, because it would have made things a bit more interesting, and it would have made a little bit more sense as to why Shinsuke Nakamura is so hostile against Seth Rollins. That would have been a lot better. But they didn't do it. Now, with that being said, this was the correct match to main event the show. In no way, shape, or form should you have the World Heavyweight Championship going on second to last. In no way, shape, or form should we have a world title going on in the undercard. I was incredibly pissed when they had the World Heavyweight title on the undercard when Roman Reigns wasn't even defending the World Championship for his brand on the show. Roman Reigns main evented over the World Championship on 2 separate occasions, and Roman Reigns was competing in tag team matches. That's inexcusable. If Roman Reigns is not defending the World Championship, then the world title on Raw should always main event the show. If Roman is competing in a tag team match, he is on the undercard. Have him open the show. In no way, shape, or form should we have the World Heavyweight Championship. If that is on the show and the undisputed Universal title is not being defended, in no way, shape, or form should we have the world title going on second to last or third to last. But in the end, this was the correct match to main event the show. This was Shinsuke Nakamura's first ever pay-per-view main event. And Seth Rollins finally gets the main event that he is rightfully earned. And in the end, this was a very good match. In the end, we got a very good match. Rollins and Nakamura never had bad matches. They always have very good chemistry. And in the end, Seth Rollins ends up retaining the World Heavyweight Championship clean. And after the show was over, Nakamura actually attacked Seth Rollins. Kind of silly that they didn't show that on the actual show before it went off the air. But the match itself was good. The match itself was a serviceable pay-per-view main event, and Seth Rollins and Nakamura did what they needed to do, and they delivered a very good match. So Rollins immediately started grabbing at his lower back. It was just like a nervous tick in Seth Rollins' mind. Rollins then came back with a suicide dive. Nakamura was down. Rollins then with a springboard swanton bomb and another suicide dive. Nakamura then launched Rollins off of the barricade onto the announce table, and there was no give. So right out of the box, Nakamura took over, and Nakamura targeted the back. He slowed the pace down. He delivered a guillotine knee drop off of the apron to Rollins. We had a single leg Boston Crab. Rollins then with a Hurricane Rana from the middle rope. Rollins then mounted a comeback with a nice sling blade and a frog splash. That got a 2. Rollins with a clothesline. Nakamura kicked out again. Rollins missed the stomp. Nakamura with a flying knee off of the middle rope for a 2. Nakamura kept the pressure on with a nice suplex and a sliding German off of the ropes for a 2. We had a reverse exploder by Nakamura. He went for the Kinshasa, but Rollins countered with a super kick. Nakamura kicked out. Nakamura rolled through into an armbar and transitioned into a triangle. It was in deep. Rollins then powered Nakamura up into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2. Both men traded blows back and forth. We had a rolling elbow by Rollins, enziguri by Nakamura, enziguri by Rollins. Nakamura took Rollins up top, and this was probably my favorite spot of the match right here. Nakamura delivered an avalanche landslide, which is pretty much like a Samoan driver. An avalanche landslide, which looked very, very risky to pull off, but he did a very good job. Avalanche landslide. Rollins landed right on his back, and Rollins was able to kick out. Nakamura then with a Kinshasa to the back. rapid knees, and he went for the Kinshasa again. Rollins caught him with a pedigree. Nakamura with an enziguri. Rollins with the stomp out of nowhere. Rollins crawled into the cover. 1, 2, 3, and Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship in a very good professional wrestling match to close out what was a very good WWE Payback pay-per-view, although I really do not understand why Nakamura was not shown on the pay-per-view on camera attacking Seth Rollins and setting up another match at the next show. Now, I'm going to be quite honest with you right here. Like I said in the beginning, Rollins and Nakamura, two excellent pro wrestlers. And this was a very good pay-per-view main event. But at the end of the day, there is no heat. There is no heat. There is no investment. There is no intrigue. Now, if my calculations serve me correctly, it seems as though they're building towards one more match at Fastlane. And to be quite honest with you, I kind of expected it, regardless if Nakamura lost clean. I expected it simply because of the fact that there's really nobody else. Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre, they're tied up with the New Day and the Viking Raiders. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are still feuding with the Judgment Day. Seth Rollins has already beaten the Judgment Day, so there's no reason to continue that program. Cody Rhodes seems like he's going to be traded over to SmackDown. So who else really is there? It seems as though Nakamura is the only other option to get Rollins through Fastlane before we move on to Saudi Arabia and Survivor Series. However, my creative juices got flowing last night on Monday Night Raw. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Ricochet had a little conversation with Seth Rollins saying you don't have to carry the weight of Monday Night Raw all by yourself. Ricochet actually came out to save Nakamura from further assault at the hands of Shinsuke Nakamura. So, Ricochet saved Rollins. He fought Nakamura in a match, and Nakamura ended up getting himself DQ'd by hitting Ricochet with a steel chair. And then Rollins came out to attack Nakamura again in another desperate attempt by WWE to try and build heat for this program, even though there's no heat whatsoever. But he saved Ricochet. Ricochet saved Rollins. Rollins saved Ricochet. What if Ricochet is inserted into this program and we get a triple threat match at Fastlane for the World Heavyweight Championship? That would be better. With Ricochet being inserted into this program between Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura, this actually makes things a lot more intriguing from an in-ring perspective. We already know that Nakamura and Seth Rollins can put on a good wrestling match, but there is really no heat. With Ricochet involved and the exciting pace that Ricochet works at, he can bring the match up from maybe like a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10. He can bring that up to at least an 8 out of 10 because Ricochet is that good. So if you're asking me, I would not do a one-on-one match with Nakamura and Rollins at Fastlane. I would do a triple threat match with Rollins, Nakamura, and Ricochet. You can have Rollins pin Nakamura at Fastlane and be done with him, and then build towards a one-on-one match with Rollins and Ricochet at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. That would be a much better route to go for the World Heavyweight title. I really do hope that they listen. I really do hope that Ricochet being involved here is not a one-time thing, because Ricochet in the World Heavyweight Championship title picture, and you put him against Seth Rollins, with how Seth Rollins is operating right now, and that great match that Ricochet put on with Logan Paul at SummerSlam, I am telling you, you give those two time, especially in Saudi Arabia, because the Saudi Arabian crowd, that's actually become one of my favorite WWE crowds ever. If you put those two in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel on November 4th and you let them go, that right there would be one hell of a fucking match. That would be a great notch on Seth Rollins' belt. for him to have a banger match with Ricochet and him continue his World Heavyweight Championship title reign with a match like that. Triple threat match at Fastlane and a one-on-one match with Ricochet at Crown Jewel. That's the way to go. But in the end, WWE Payback, not a bad show by any means. Very good professional wrestling show, and WWE continues their decent little streak of solid premium live events throughout the year. And I really do hope that they continue that going into Fastlane, because in the end, when you allow your talent to go out there and wrestle, they are going to show up to work. And that's exactly what happened at Payback. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this very stream. You guys were awesome. You guys were great. Thank you very much to James Punaseca and Sarah Hapka and Hula Grim and John. You guys were awesome. Thank you very much for stopping by on this Tuesday evening. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out all the links in the description. Share the stream out on all platforms, social media. Thursday, I will be live once again at 7:30, and we will be going live for the rundown for All Elite Wrestling's All Out pay-per-view, which was a fantastic show from top to bottom and exceeded all expectations that anyone ever had. We're going to talk about that show and what it really meant for AEW, how important it was. And Tony Khan put on 2 back-to-back banger pay-per-views in a row. Very, very, very proud of what he was able to accomplish. We'll be talking about that on Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I could very well be doing a stream on Saturday with a friend. I might not do the normal LFU. I will get the confirmation hopefully by tomorrow. And then if I don't get the confirmation, I'll just be going live with the regular LFU. But next week is when we will really dive into the CM Punk news and the entirety of what happened with CM Punk and how he was let go and where he could end up or where he could not end up. We're going to do that on the all-new monthly stream with Jay Leto starting next week. Next Thursday, I'm going to set it up, and we're going to square things away. It is going to be fun. But until next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful time. You guys definitely make being DJ Storms lots more fun than I would have ever expected. And you already know what to say before we get out of here. Baby, who runs the IWC? There is absolutely no doubt about it. Who? The DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you dare forget it.
'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.